listening to In Between the Lines podcast with Shamar and Jay. Nothing is out of bounds. What?
Yo, it's In Between the Lines podcast. I'm Shamar. That's Jay. You are the Pod Squad. Since you're here, make sure you like and subscribe. Jay,
People,
what's going on?
my bro, another week down.
What's new on your mind?
Man, let's get into it, man. We ain't gonna waste no time. People, we got one for you. This just blew my fucking mind. And I'm gonna say it blew my mind because I grew up in the church.
Okay, I did too. Preacher's kid.
Oh, you cool saying that?
Yeah.
Because my life had changed. Like the church grew out of me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, church grew out of me too, but I grew up there.
I ain't gonna lie. I got to be a teenager. I got thugged the fuck out.
I'm still believing God. I'm just not not a big church follower, guy.
Listen, I'm just saying I ain't got to go no more. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
All right.
Yeah, I got thugged out at some point.
So
but
you must be talking about Mr. Sapp.
Oh man, absolutely, bro. This is a crazy story I've never heard of.
Is he related to Warren Sapp?
I don't know, but that do make you want to look that up.
Because they got big dead frame and everything. But go ahead, my bad.
Basically, they some thick ass brothers. Pause. You know what I'm saying?
But definitely pause.
Meat and potatoes. But yeah, man, just this story. People you don't know. This man's a preacher.
Mm-hmm. Good preacher too.
Very popular, to be honest. Once I got into the story, yeah, this is a popular guy. Period. But at one of his congregations and one of his Sundays at his church, man, he basically asked his congregation, if you believe in the Lord.
Sound like you about to preach.
A little bit, because I paused. You got a point. We ain't going to do that, though.
Hey, the way you said it, the Lord, you know what I mean?
Unless you want to give me your wallet. I
ain't got no money.
You ain't never got no money. But, a hell of a story, man. Just blew my mind. Pause. This man locked the doors on his congregation and asked literally from $1,000 from every member of his church, which had totaled to about 40 grand at the end of the donation, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I've never heard of it. I definitely had to dial in and read about it. And just knowing how I grew up in the church, the basket did go around twice, and I didn't get it. You know, my grandma would always give me quarters, though. Mm-hmm. Because, the first time around, you get 50 cents. The second time around, you get other 50 cents, and you're good to go. And I'm not gonna lie, I always felt some type of way when my grandma didn't give me money, and the basket skipped right over me like I'm the bad guy. I didn't come to church with no bread.
Felt left out.
I just felt uncomfortable because everybody looking at me like, damn, he ain't even give him no money. He ain't give Jesus no money. But so in this story here, man, asking your congregation for 40 grand, shutting the door because God have did something for them, bro. Take it away. Tell me what you think, bro.
So to correct your first point, he didn't lock the door. He just shut the door. He didn't lock anybody.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Key difference in there because he responded. He said, I didn't lock the door. And if you go look at the bill, he said, I said, shut the door.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The reason why he said shut the door is he said because it was the end of the service and people were starting to leave and they were not going to hear the message. You know what I mean? Like, you just start walking out. He's like, well, hold up, y'all, shut the door. You know what I mean? We about to do a final offering here and I need everybody to give $20 and everything. Now, he did apologize. He said the way his tone was, it did come across a little harsh. And he apologized for that and everything. And he said, but he was just like, that's just how it goes. He's like, that's part of going to church. He was like, God asked for donations, and at the time it was livestock. At the time it was gems and things of that nature. He's like, it wasn't for me. It was for, they had a special conference that was going on. It was to help mitigate the costs on things like that. So, you know what I mean? He said it was a purpose. He said none of the money went to him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but it was just like, I think it was the tone and how it did. He said, I regret it, you know what I mean? Because it left for open interpretation of what's going on now. He's like, I'm getting death threats and everything. Yeah. And he said he got to raise his security now. Yeah. I don't know. That's more money that got to cost him and everything. But if I was there, I wouldn't have liked the tone either. I didn't like the tone looking at it on TV. Because like I said, it leads to that great debate of
why go to church?
Why go to church? Because it feel like they just hustling you.
Yes.
And everything. So, and I think in black church, the why preachers look like a hustle is because the way a preacher can be successful, he has to sound like a hustler. Like a hustler's confident. A hustler projects, like when you out on the street corner and you want to get the guy that's doing a three-card Molly, it's because he's confident that you can't do it and you want to be confident. When you out doing anything, like the confidence draws you in. The braggadocious for us draws you in. So all that is how preachers get to their audience and everything. And so it's always going to lead to a hustle because you got to have that outwardness to be that big of a preacher. You know what I mean? When you get them mega church preachers, like you got to be. And we talking about little churches, you just got to be a preacher and without it, you ain't got to do nothing like that.
Now, I don't know how many members he got, but to just ask for $20 and hope to attain 40 grand at
there's 1,000 people in the congregation.
Yeah, that's insane. Which is, it shows his popularity, number one. and yeah, how big of a following he has. But because I grew up in the church to hear that, man, I felt like, and then watching the video, man, he might as well have said, stick him up. Because that's what it got. Like you said, the tone, the way it sounded when it came off, man, I just really think that took some gall, number one. But I think the messaging was way off on, asking people to donate to whereas though the way you sounded, it was like they had to, and that's a problem.
And you know what the problem is? The problem is that his church put it out.
Yeah.
Like that was a professional, how they do that. Like that wasn't no cell phone camera, no nothing.
Yeah.
That was like the
Released
actual,
from his people.
For his people. Like whoever was the media person seen that and said, yeah, let's put that out there. It's crazy. They should be fired because that should have been ran like, yo, this don't even look right, Mr. Sapp, you know what I mean? Do you want this out there like that? Let's just delete this joint, you know what I mean? And everything.
Well, I picture like this, and just listening to that comment right there, he might have put it out because he was proud of the fact that they was able to get the 40 grand.
Well, they never confirmed that he got the 40 grand. But,
So, but just the whole take in church and how I grew up on it, and again, I grew up in the
what's
church.
another key factor of that?
What's that?
He wanted everybody to show that they gave the 20. So everybody had to come up and show that you were giving. He wanted to see everybody doing it.
So that means he could point out the ones that didn't give.
Yeah.
So I would have been fucked.
Yeah.
I would have got no blessings that day.
That's when he's like, after you pay, you can leave and go out the doors and everything.
Bro, that sounds crazy right
It
there,
sounds
bro.
crazy.
You might as well have a cover charge going to
The
church.
that basically it is. But the fact that you do that
And videotape it.
and videotape and release it is insane in itself.
It's
But-
self-inflicted. Whatever backlash you got, definitely self-inflicted.
And it's definitely for people like who are not a real fan of his, who just know of his songs, like not really his preaching. Like even though he's a good preacher, like he got great songs. It just makes a bad situation out of thing. And I heard it just got released not too long ago, a couple hours ago, that he's making a song, "Shut the Doors."
Oh Lord! So he really trying to capitalize on this.
Capitalize on it.
Yeah, I wonder how God feel about that.
I don't know. I mean, is he using the money for good?
I don't know. Again, but here's the thing, though.
That is the thing. Only God can know.
Even when you spoke of you growing up in the church, this, that, and the third too, a lot of reasons why preachers get that backlash too is because why they always got a big ass luxury car, whether it's a Lincoln Continental or the Benz. You see what I'm saying?
Because you have to be inspiring to us. Like the role of a preacher is to be inspiring. Not only you have to inspire spiritually and unfortunately
Materialistically?
not materialistically.
That's what that is.
But
Why the preacher always got a nice car?
because it's the eye test.
Uh.
Like why would I go listen to somebody who has not?
Who broke?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. Your message
Not
is
broke,
crazy.
but has not. Like it's a mental thing.
Oh man,
It's a mental thing.
So basically, this is what I'm getting out of this. And remember, we both grew up in the church.
And I'm talking about mega churches.
Okay, but it's a fraud. It's perception, according to your analogy and what you're giving me, and it ain't legit. Because again, faith is free. Let's be clear.
Well, faith is free. Electricity is not.
Okay, I get all that, but let's be honest. A lot of that get written off because they're under the church umbrella.
Still got paid.
Taxes and all that. I get all that, but again, it's paid by the congregation, by the members. So again, to keep like mooching off the members to accumulate whatever you trying to accumulate, and let's be honest, man, like. If you're making that kind of money and you got that congregation where you got 1,000 members, this, that, and third, I get you asking for donations because again, to keep that going along, it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? It is a job, literally. So compensation I get, but bro, shit, all these preachers getting a real bag, bro.
Yeah, well, how it was, my dad was a preacher. But how so I know how the structure of a black church works a little bit. You know what I mean? I was still young. I was 10. My parents both died while I was in high school, so I got to witness it before that. Now, he wasn't a mega church, regular job. He didn't do that. Like, technically, the preacher is supposed to get 10% of what the church brings
Offerings
in.
are.
Yeah, so what the church brings in, because technically, the preacher isn't supposed to work. He's supposed to be that's a full-time job, technically. Now, my dad, he still worked. So he didn't really take a lot from the church. And our church wasn't that big anyway, but he still had a full-time job. So when you get into those bigger churches where it's a full-time job, actually, the more money they bring in, the more money that 10% goes to there. So you look at $1 million, I get 100,000 off of that, something like that. It could be 10, it could be 15%, it could be 20, whatever the church negotiates and everything. So the percentage of their thing is that's how it usually works. So again, if I'm making $100,000, should I live down because I'm making $100,000?
I think you keep it modest, man, because you want the messaging to be.
I agree to it. Now, the cats with the planes and all that, the Bentleys and stuff, that's a little bit too much.
Overzealous, bro.
Yeah, overzealous, a little bit too much. Even though you might be entitled to it, I think it brings in more negativity than it does admiration.
Your messaging will be taken out of
But
context.
I do believe in the black church. In order to attain a bigger church and maintain that bigger church, you have to be someone that is looked up to not only spiritually, but I also think is eye test thing. Like you have to be saying like God has blessed him in every aspect of life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I
you
get
can't
that.
be, you can't be poor preaching me and tell me that God is good and you struggling just like me. Like, how can I look that to you for help? It's a psychological thing. But I do agree that a lot of pastors in these mega churches just be overdoing it.
Absolutely, 100%.